What a game.
But you don't have to listen, well, you will have to listen to us because we've got a game of League of Legends to cast. Yes, we do. We're going to be jumping into the draft straight away. No more fluff, so let's get straight into it. Tristana going to be the first taken off the board. You'll notice that Vitality sitting on the blue side with KC on the red side. Maokai going to be the response coming in from KC. Things to think about. Canna has been a standout top laner throughout the split. Things like Rumble, his Jace, his Gnar, all champions that you have to be incredibly afraid of. We'll see if any of those make their way towards the ban pool. Right now, it looks like that Vladi's Akali is going to be taken off the Rift, but he's been a bit of a Zeka fanboy so far this split.
Yeah, he has. I think Vladi's evolution across the course of winter and spring has been very enjoyable to watch. His Akali obviously can be really good, can sometimes have a few disappointing series as well. Pantheon taken away by Karmine Corp, so they're trying to get rid of some of that easy CC in the jungle, like Panthelia, such a strong combination when teamed up effectively. We'll see where Vitality want to go with their final ban of this first phase. I'm still looking at things like Varus, Sejuani still up, Vi still up, Talia, Yone, like a lot of power picks still available.
Certainly. Interestingly, one of the most played for Yike this split has actually been the Lilia. You mentioned the Yone. Yone-Lilia is a combination that they would absolutely love to play.
Agreed.
So there are so many options. The Jack's, interestingly, going to be the ban. I wonder what that suggests towards the top side. If you want to ban away the Jacks,
I mean, could go Gwen.
in the current, maybe the Gwen? Yeah, maybe it is a Gwen, but would you want to first pick Gwen in the current meta?
I don't think, like, Gwen kind of fell off a little bit when she got her slight nerfs on 25.08. I think she's still strong. She's just very reliant on having a team that works around her.
But if you blind pick a Gwen, I mean, they just do Jace, right?
Oh, 100%, yeah. And it's Canna's Jace as well. So you don't really want to be playing into Canna's Jace.
I'm super interested what they're thinking about with this Jax. It could be, of course, Nako, Yone top player.
That is true.
So
he also plays Yasuo top.
Yes, he does. But my point is that the Jax ban could very much be, we're locking in the Yone because we want to play it top. And so then they have a potential, I mean, one of the good counter matchups into it on the top side.
Yeah, that makes sense. There is the Yone locked in for Vitality to kick us off. Karmine Corp still have the rule of the roost. Rumble is going to be their AP top pick, and it is Yikes by in front of a crowd of Karmine Corp fans. You can hear the jeers, is what I'll call them.
We'll see how he performs on the pick. Obviously, KC have gotten themselves a lot of lockdown with this draft. I wonder if they will go towards their mid laner, because right now we don't know where this Yone is going. We are guesstimating that it's going top, but with the Gwen locked in, Medic, your expectations around the Jax ban, I mean, seeing the Rumble as well, they're saying we think that the Gwen outscales, we think the matchup is fine, and so they're going to set up Nako with the Gwen top, and they've already got the AP and AD split now.
Yeah, there is also the possibility of a Gwungle. Or Gwengle, I guess. Gwen jungle, something we don't see too much.
You really threw me off
in the
there.
LEC. A Gwungle? Yeah. I love myself a good Gwungle.
The Neeko, this is a big deal.
It is a big deal for Niski.
Because it's Niski's Neeko. We all remember the game, we've all seen the game, and the only takeaway from that is Niski's Neeko won the game. Okay?
Yeah, did he win the game by playing the Neeko? Or did he win the game while playing Neeko?
I don't need to answer those questions.
Okay.
That's not my job. My job is to outline that the last Neeko game he played, he won.
100% win rate on support Neeko.
So
maybe.
Already very solid side lane threats coming out from the side of Vitality. When we think of them as players, highly skilled individuals, that kind of has been the consensus. Macro-wise, there's room for growth.
Yeah, quite a lot of it.
But right now it feels like that they're setting up their individuals for success. We now need to see a jungler that can really enable them, and I think the Naafiri ban from KC makes a lot of sense. It is one of Lyncas' most played from the regular season, and I think it is a great enable champion. I wonder if they'll look to remove something like the Xin Zhao as well. Maybe with the Pantheon already taken away, I mean, all of the most played from Lyncas has now been banned away from the side of KC.
Yeah, Maokai's gone as well, Sejuani's gone. Like, you can't just play a utility jungle alongside it. I think one of the things with Naafiri is you kind of want pushing lanes, and I'm not sure how easily Vitality get push in their individual lanes currently. I think that Gwen into the Rumble can have an okay matchup. especially if you go for the exhaust teleport instead of going for the flash. But you can get pushed out of that lane relatively easily, at least early doors. Anyway, Wukong is the second ban from Karmine Corp. Taliyah taken away by Vitality. Trying to pinch Vladi's pool just a smidge. I wonder if they'll continue to look towards mid. Can't really ban out supports. There's just too many of them available for Targamas to go to.
Sylas, maybe Azia. Oh, well. Stand corrected. It looks like they're going to go for
You can ban a support,
yeah,
you just can't ban out a whole subsection of supports, I guess.
It might be because they're worried about the lockdown that it provides, but I was just talking about the Sylas, and like I felt like that was the direction that Vladi has trended so far this split. I think he's got, when he sees the Neeko, I feel like that's the only ult he needs justification, being like, I've got a nice ult to steal, I can have teamfight value. And I think it pairs up nicely with Vi, just because they're both skirmish champions. They both want to get in your face. Varus likely gonna... Actually, I wonder if he will go for the poke builds, just because when you've got two kind of duelist assassins that want to be diving on your face.
If people are already low, it's quite nice.
Yeah, is the on hit better? I don't know. We'll see what Caliste is feeling. The Kai'Sa going to come through from Vitality, means that they're looking for a little bit more dive on their side.
I like the Kai'Sa to team up with the Yone and the Neeko going in. Obviously, the repositioning elements of Killer Instinct is really powerful. I'm trying to work out what jungle you put this with. Like, Poppy is going to get locked in. There's still flexibility in this draft, if you really want it.
So maybe Neeko mid, Gwen jungle.
That's what I was thinking of with the Gwungle, as we talked about earlier, Vedius.
Right, yes.
The Gwungle is a possibility. It can still take the Neeko into support, Poppy jungle, Gwen top, and then Yone mid.
They could put the Gwen mid, they could put the Yone top, they could put the Poppy jungle, they could put the Neeko support. They have a lot of options.
Let's see what they do. I think it's Yone mid, Gwen top, Neeko support.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be the most obvious one.
Yep.
No crazy shenanigans happening. Still a pretty interesting draft. Here are the pros and cons.
Okay.
The pros of the draft from Vitality, a lot of individual agency.
Yes.
The talent that this team is touted with having, there's a lot of skill expression for each individual player. Their engage is very reliant on Niski, which, given his track record on Neeko, I mean, I'll leave you to decide. Now, for KC, their composition is a little bit more well-rounded in that it all kind of wants to do the same thing. It's got great dive, great backline access. Yep. It's really good at shutting down a single target. They also have a lot of AoE effects, so they will fall short in the side lane department if they can't get ahead early. But in the team fights, their composition has a lot of things going for it.
I 100% agree with you. I think when you get to 5v5s, I would take the composition on the right of your screens 9 times out of 10. And the only time I would take the composition on the left is if they have individual lane leads of about 2k each for them to be actually able to win it out.
Oh, that's, I mean, 2k each?
Each, yeah. I'm going to be honest, I think they need quite a large sum in their pockets if they're going to be out this Karmine Corp composition. We're about to get onto the third game of the day, the first of this series between Karmine Corp and Vitality.
Thank you so much to the viewers at home as well, of course, for bearing with us through all of the issues that we ran into. Who would have thought we'd get another power outage at another road trip? But fortunately, the staff on the ground handled it beautifully, and now we're back into the action. Vitality on the blue side, Casey on the red.
Yeah, if I had a penny every time the LEC's gone somewhere and there's been a major power outage, I'd have 2 pennies, which isn't much, but it's surprising it's happened twice. Yeah, for KC, they're still looking, fighting for that first place in the LEC regular season. First place does give you, you've already got double elimination being part of the top 4, but it also gives you the ability to choose who out of 3rd and 4th that you play up against. For Vitality, a win here would guarantee them at least a tiebreaker for our playoffs, but it wouldn't guarantee them into the playoffs already.
And just to make things clear, it's, I don't want to say near impossible, but it's very difficult to catch up to KC for top 2. So,
they're locked. Fnatic and Karmine Corp are locked top 2.
Oh, I thought there was still a world where Koi could still get it.
No, I'm pretty sure that I'm like
mistaken.
99% sure that they are locked into our top 2, Vedi.
Actually, yeah, I can see why. Yep, that makes sense. Right, so basically, as you rightly said, Casey's just fighting for first, but a top 2 finish regardless is still a great achievement for them, especially coming straight off the back of first stand, so much of the conversation about how they would be feeling and their slow road to recovery. In any case, we look at the early pathing. We see the Raptors start coming in from Yike on the top side of the map. His options are, he can either do a full topside clear, maybe into an early gank, or he can do the early Raptors into a bot pathing if he wants to protect his bot jungle. He's probably not too concerned about a Poppy invade, but maybe he needs to be, because I'm keeping my eyes on the minimap, and it looks like that's what he's going to do. He's immediately moving into his bot side jungle, and Lyncas, leveraging the prowd that he has, wants to get cheeky with it.
He might be really cheeky here because he doesn't have smite. Yike is holding on to his smite right now. Lyncas won't have that smite for another 7-8 seconds or so. Yike's going to come around the corner and should be able to just use this summon to steal this away. Lyncas pulls the blue round the corner, trying to get it low enough, maybe smite it away, but doesn't have that smite still. So
I mean, Yike is just playing for the level 3, isn't he? He has the smite available to him.
The problem for him now is Nitsky and Carzzy have the push through bot, so they can step in here. It is a single camp lead for Yike, but likely going to lose his blue now that Lyncas' smite has come off cooldown.
I mean, ultimately, just a lot of time being wasted. Yike, of course, does have that slight advantage for the time being. Lyncas getting the blue buff at about 50%, but as you rightly said, it's very likely that the smite is just going to come through, and blue buff secured.
Targamas goes in. Lyncas takes the blue, as you say. Niski's helping him out. Czajek having to push him mid as well meant that Vladi would be a little bit later to the fight. So in the end, the invade is completed, and it's just a single camp stolen away by Lyncas.
Definitely felt awkward at the start.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Vitality did what they needed to do. They brought their bot lane with the prowd that they had into the enemy jungle. They put pressure down onto Yike, made it harder for him to really contest, while Caliste really needed to make sure that he got this bot lane farm, and ultimately, with their numbers advantage, they find a small lead. So, well, a very tiny lead in favor of Vitality here in the early game.
It's a couple of 100 gold. No, nothing to be sniffed at. A bit of that from Carzzy in the bottom lane, who's got about a 1-wave lead over Caliste with how the waves have been playing out down towards this bottom side. KC have had some, I'm going to call them early game woes, but I know you have a slightly different interpretation of how their early games have gone. They tend to be behind in the early game. Behind a gold of 15, behind in terms of getting first blood, but pretty good at getting the first tower though.
The first blood percentage, I think, is really indicative of how I read their early game.
Yeah.
And it's that they don't come across to me as a super proactive early game team. I think that they have a lot of very talented individuals, and their typical approach is Yike likes to enable those laners. So often he's shadowing rather than trying to force plays. Of course, the big exceptions to that are when they're trying to make Canna ganks happen, where a lot of attention often goes towards the KC bot lane, or alternatively setting up dives with Canna. Yike loves to make dives happen with Canna, try and get him that early kill so that he can then have all this agency in his lane, because, I mean, speaking of ganks, here's Yike.
Yeah, Yike's on his way down towards the bottom side. Niski going to shake splitter, but stunned up with the Shield of Daybreak, and the Vault Breaker coming out. Niski flashes and is met with the fist of Yike. First blood to Karmine Corp.
And just as I say it, Yike has to go and prove me wrong. He makes an incredibly effective early gank happen, gets first blood on the bot side of the map, and is already off to a strong start here in game 1.
And Niski as well, a little bit greedy, thinking he could get out of that one. I think he should have held on to his flash. He was basically dead anyway. At most, he's flashing over the Vault Breaker if it comes out, but burnt both of his summoners, and now we'll be in a bit more of a precarious spot when a future gank comes out. Lyncas trying to see if Caliste and Targamas can be caught. The wave not in the best of spots for them, but they decide to back away, not forcing their pressure any further.
Yeah, you'll notice that there's actually a huge CS advantage in favor of Carzzy. That wave freeze was very awkward for the KC bot lane. They needed to get that push underneath the tower, and he just refused to let them have it. And the problem was it was in such an awkward spot where they didn't have the resources anymore to really shove it underneath the tower, and so then they were forced to overstay. Yike also overstaying. The threat of a gank was coming through from Lyncas, and ultimately it did mean that even though they found themselves first blood, you'll notice that the overall gold is even, and the gold advantage that Yike has claimed for himself, Carzzy has been able to build for himself as well.
Yeah, part of that is, as you say, that freeze, but also the previous pushes in when they were able to get the wave crashed underneath Caliste's tower. Top lane, much ado about nothing, really. Nako just trying to get to that level 6. Canna about half a level ahead in the 1v1 matchup. I wonder if that was just a good chunk onto Nako, meaning he had to use his teleport a little bit earlier. Niski's making his way downtown towards the mid lane to see if perhaps Vladi oversteps, but he will not be doing so.
A lot of fishing right now for opportunities. Again, we come back to this composition from Vitality where a lot of the strengths of it is in its solo laners, their ability to play through side and I will say the thing about Poppy is she's quite reliant on setup, I would say, unless, of course, someone positions in a way where she can maybe get a surprise wall slam that can maybe set up for a play, but Gwen doesn't really have the best setup.
Yeah.
The ultimate provides a few slows. There's also Yone's ulti, if you can connect it, maybe a knock up into an ulti. But really, I think it's quite difficult for Lyncas to force early ganks in the same way that Yike can on the Vi, a champion that is very much built to gank, and a champion that is designed to help find these early game leads for their laners, as he's already been able to find on the bot side.
Yeah, it's one of those where often as a jungler, you want to have CC yourself. It just makes it so much easier to gank. You can set up your own fights, and here, Vitality, a heavy skirmish comp. Niski, really, the key cog in the machine of Vitality's team fighting. We'll see how effective he can be on this Neeko, because last time we saw him on it, he didn't have the best of times.
Crucially, of course, the Poppy's value is going to come much later into the game. Getting in the way of those dashes, that Sylas dash, but Yike looking once again, the stun connects.
Chain of Corruption going down onto Niski. There's Shield of Daybreak, and pop goes the Neeko. Taken out once again, that's Caliste on the board for Karmine Corp. That's a strong early start from Yike on his Vi. Yeah,
the repeat ganks are very clean from Yike. There is not much vision control in favor of Vitality. And this time they're able to give the kill over to Caliste, and just like that, the AD carry difference disappears.
Yeah.
So KC controlling the early game, and the thing that we were just criticizing them for, being less proactive in the early game, playing that slower approach, you can see very different here as they're already off to a fantastic start.
And this is also one of the reasons I said it was greedy for Niski to try and flash the first fight. He was as good as dead there. Now, if he'd had the flash, you can escape the second gank. As soon as you burn that flash, you paint a target on the back of your head, and Yike very happily will punch through that goal. On the rest of the map, Vitality are doing okay. Bot lane, a little bit of a struggle, or I guess support role, a little bit of a struggle so far in this one.
As we kind of come to expect so far from this split, Canna finding advantages independently.
Yeah.
You already talked about the experience advantage you'd been able to build, but that farm also doing a decent amount of work. No early objectives secured just yet, even though KC have thrown a lot of ganks towards the bot side of the map. They actually haven't converted it into an objective. Right now, they're on the top side of the map alongside Lyncas. Czajek not going to be stunned up long enough to really convert into anything big for KC. Looks to me like Lyncas is actually going to start off these grubs, and Caliste is he going to make his way up towards mid lane?
I'm not sure. I think he's going to go back towards bot. Carzzy's going down there as well. Both the AD carries just going to match up. We did see Targamas and Niski in the mid lane, but both of them going back down towards bot as well. So Karmine Corp decided they didn't want to fight around the grubs. Instead, just get a little bit of vision wherever they can. Yike is looking for Nako up towards the top side there. The grubs for Vitality, all three of them, meaning they will have those mites spawning. Yike, is he going to try and... he's looking for a gank on the bounce back. May just be covering for Canna as well.
This is exactly what I was talking about. This type of playstyle is very much what I've seen a lot of Yike doing this split. Just that shadowing, the make sure of like, oh, I'll make sure that you can get that push out, but also you can play as aggressive as you want. You know, Canna is a player that likes to trade, likes to leverage his lead when he's built one, and maybe there would be a window there to threaten a dive. And so Yike is now in that position.
Oh, here we go. There's a TP going back towards the top lane. Nako is immediately met with a fist of justice. Equalizer down as well. There's a cease and desist. And Nako will fall. A bit of a greedy teleport position from Nako straight into the wave instead of just to his tower.
Yeah, he was not expecting Yike to be sitting in the brush. Or maybe he was and he'd expected that he'd already gone back to base. And either way, it's another kill in favor of KC. Yike now 100% KP. He's been involved in all of their early kills. They've built up a 1.1k gold lead, largely on the top side of the map. No objectives just yet, but it looks like he's setting his sights on the dragon.
Yeah, he's now in such a strong position. He can solo that dragon out if he wants to. Sundered Sky complete on the Vi. Has been involved in every single one of his team's kills. More plates going over to Canna as well, who has that Fated Ashes. I wonder if he's got a full Leandries on this recall. Yep, there we go. Leandries and Amtone and the glowing moat to boot. Oh, sells the moat for a ward. I'm sure there's an analyst out there somewhere being like, yes, Canna, good job. Don't need that 250 gold, basically does nothing for your item. Instead, vision saves lives.
Unless that he gets zero value out of that ward.
But if he gets zero value out of a control ward, he is placing it wrong. That is him making a mistake.
Is it?
Well, when would you ever get 0 value out of a control
If a
ward,
jungler
Vedi?
never goes top. Or if...
No, but he
Nako's
knows
never
there's
enters the
never
red
a jungler up there if he has the control ward. That's a huge amount of value.
That's a valid argument.
Yeah. The only time you get no value is if you place it in a bush that you know someone's in and they immediately kill it.
Yeah, I mean, these are all great points,
Yeah.
but I'm afraid the little number next to the vision when I'm in game is the only number I care about.
Vision score.
The vision score
Yeah.
is pretty much the only metric I use to determine good vision or not yet.
That's why I always use zombie ward. It's like, my vision score's
Don't
200,
tell people you
guys.
can inflate that number.
You can.
No, don't let people know
That's
about
the
that.
true elo boosting, guys.
No. You know, it's the same way that Jarvan, he's like, guys, look at how valuable I was this game.
10 assists on one fight. How did I do it?
Well, of course, no objectives on the map right now, so neither team really set their sights on anything in particular. You could fish for early towers, but again, I think both sides are quite happy to scale. Laning going very well in favor of KC for the time being, but of course, Vitality waiting for those crucial spikes, and as Hysteric said last week, Czajek basically at full build, just needs those Zerka's Greaves, and he's basically good to go.
Oh, fate sealed. Cease and desist, going to chase him underneath the tower. There's a flash up, gone down, dunked into a counter fate sealed. As Vladi picks up the 4th for Karmine Corp. Now Caliste and Targamas have to survive. Pop Blossom flashes forward. Caliste stunned into the wall, even after his flash and his cleanse. Good dive from Vitality. Lyncas channels up the helicopter, but walks away with it. Carzzy using the Killer Instinct for a bit of a shield, as Karmine Corp are able to defend the tower, but do lose their AD carry.
I mean, nice plays from both sides. The movement that came through from Vladi and Yike to find that kill was beautifully done. But then Vitality, they get a very clean dive on the bot side of the map. Nisqy with a good sidestep on the ulti from Caliste. You'll see it when the dive comes through, but first of all, look at this play in mid lane. Yike gonna hold with his ultimate to make sure he can get the follow through, and there it does. Comes through, making sure that the knockup that comes through from the Yone ultimate doesn't actually interrupt this follow through. Then Vladi with a nice follow-up with the flash to secure that kill. Meanwhile, look, you'll see the ultimate sidestep by Nisqy, commits the flash, gets the 2-man knockup, and then good target focus. They lock down the Varus, make sure they secure that kill, don't stay underneath the tower too long, and Lyncas ready with the ultimate for that TP to come in. So ultimately, well played from both sides, but it's KC that continues to build their lead.
Caliste getting caught out a little bit there by Nisqy, but gives back as good as he gets. Caliste is a chunk of change behind in that bot lane now, about 700 gold or so. An equivalent advantage for Canna on the top side, but Carzzy's off to a bit of a rip snorter of a start here, Vedi.
Yeah, he certainly is. As long as Vitality can keep playing through him, they definitely have a clear win condition, but the question is...
Does he just die as soon as he gets cease and desist?
Yeah, this competition is very much about those side laners. You want to have pressure on the side, so that maybe you can either win out on a 1v1, 2v1, find picks, and then create numbers advantage to turn it into a more favorable fight for you. If you're just grouping up, playing front to back 5v5, I think it's going to be much harder. Not to say that it's impossible, of course. A nice Neeko flank, a good Gwen positioning. If Gwen can easily get onto Caliste, it can change the dynamic of a fight very quickly. But just on paper, it's much easier for KC to play the front to back.
It's really about whether or not Vitality can find those picks at the start of a fight, or as you say, play through the side lanes. Rift Herald currently the objective that both the teams want to battle over. Nako has teleport, whereas Canna does not use his to get down towards that bot side tower earlier on. Nako as well with the Riftmaker trading in. Nisqy caught out, Zenith Blade. Tries to get away. Good keeper's verdict onto Targamas. Lyncas goes in with the stun as well. Pop Blossom from Vladi. Stolen away. The counter pop from Nisqy, where he's the one that goes down first. He's an assist for the chase down onto Czajek, who tried to jump the wall, but couldn't escape. Targamas still chasing into him as Czajek is taken out by Caliste. Karmine Corp come on top in the fight once again.
It's 3-for-1 in favor of KC. The initial play looked so promising for Vitality, locking down Yike, making sure that he didn't really have any avenues of escape. And then when the ultimate came through from Nisqy, you feel like that it's a done deal. So an engage quite deep from Targamas, makes it a little hard to follow, but then that knockback from Lyncas, the target focus is good, but then see this play from Vladi, gets the knockup onto the back line of 2. It kind of splits up the follow-up engage from Vitality, allowing for the re-engage to come through from KC and turn the fight in their favor. It only goes a little awry because they turn their attention onto Carzzy, but ultimately Caliste gets himself the double and KC walk away with 3 kills.
And now Caliste ahead in terms of gold in the AD carry position. That's all it takes. We talked about the power of Karmine Corp's team fighting composition. Well, you see there why it is tricky for Vitality, especially if Vladi steals away that Pot Blossom and just splits up the fight like he did. Now has the Rocket Belt alongside an Alternator and 8 stacks on a Dark Seal in front of his home crowd. Is he going to get out the book, Vedi?
I mean, I definitely feel that Vladi is locked in. He's obviously had a fantastic split so far.
100%, yeah.
I would say that some games he's been pushing his limits very extensively. But this game, I feel like he understands exactly what he can and cannot do. He's finding really nice engages, and I mean, he's...
So you're saying he should buy Medjay's?
Yeah, I definitely think he should buy Medjay's. I always think a good read is always a great thing to bring to the Rift.
Yeah? Reading your opponents. What would be the book that you'd take to Summoner's Rift if you had to?
I'm not much of a reader myself.
You're just not going to pick a book?
No.
You could pick solo leveling as Yike is getting picked in the Rift Herald pit. Doesn't have a chance to get out of there. Now Rift Herald started up by Vitality. Karmine Corp, I think, we're playing for the mid wave, and Yike was just caught out by himself.
Yeah, I mean... I'd love to be able to explain the rationale there from Yike, but I'm just going to say great pick.
It's my time, I believe, is Yike's rationale.
I guess he just assumed that he was safe. He had the Q from Vi and he thinks that he can get out, but then Poppy shows up and says, you remember what I do, right? And he's like, right, yeah, nope, can't do that. In either way, Vitality find themselves under the pick. They are looking to get themselves the first tower of the game. That'd be a very nice pickup.
Nako going to dance forward here. Caliste is on mid tower, but with the Rift Herald charging in, that will be first tower of the game over to Vitality. Caliste has to flash away from Niski, and oh my god, he missed everything! The killer instinct's in! Okay, Caliste was feeling himself, but I'm pretty sure he needs to take a step back after that one. Everything missed at the start, and then Niski was like, okay, you don't have flash, I'll just use my ultimate.
Really good punish from Niski, as you rightly said, with the flash gone. There's no reason for Niski not to follow up, and Carzzy having his ulti there meant that he could easily follow up on the play, and just like that, the 1k gold lead that KC had built for themselves quickly dwindles. As tower secured on the top side of the map, setting up for a potential dragon could be risky just because they don't have Niski's ultimate available. Carzzy's ultimate also on cooldown. Lyncas is sort of in the area, but either way it would be a difficult contest. For now, no dragon going to be started off.
Yeah, Niski getting the Rocket Belt kind of mitigates the fact that he doesn't have that flash as well. Gives him at least a little bit of a gap closer on towards that back line, but still no ultimate for him for about half of its cooldown, so they'll be waiting for that one to come back up before they look for a proper Barney. Czajek here, playing safe, playing back, knowing that he doesn't have any support on this side of the map. Karmine Corp are starting up the Drake and should be able to secure it before anyone from Vitality can challenge.
Easy objective secure. So KC now making their way back towards the mid lane.
I still want to come back to this book point at some point. Yeah, okay, we're just going to leave it.
All good. The outer towers become the next main focus for both sides. Of course, there's a lot of melee champions on both sides, which does make sieging a lot harder. You kind of need to win a fight, or you need to cross-map in order to secure these objectives. Lyncas has spotted Caliste out.
Flash, looking for the knock into the wall, cleanse away. Keeper's Verdict coming out as well. But now Lyncas is on the wrong side of the rift, collapsed on alongside Niski. There's a Shield of Daybreak. Caliste survives well. Vitality lose 2 for deigning to kill Caliste.
It was a very overforced play.
Yeah.
The fact that Lyncas also didn't even connect the stun, Caliste reacts with the cleanse regardless, but the reality is that there were only 2 members, proper follow-up wasn't there. Vitality thought that they'd found a pick, but ultimately they fell prey to the aggression of KC themselves, looking to be another Adakan secure. That could have been a window where maybe they converted into the bot tower, but instead looking for the longer-term prize of the Adakan.
And we see how many petals as well they get from it up at the top of the mini-map. Vladi going in with the Pop Blossom here. There's a good amount of damage. Oh, prediction on the timing for Czajek to bounce back to his soul. Vladi gets the 1v1 solo kill, and Karmine Corp regain their 2k gold lead.
He's definitely locked in.
Yeah.
I did not expect him to win that. We go back to this play. Nice step there from Caliste. Notice how he walked towards the right to make it harder for him to get connected onto the wall. Oh, we turn back to live. Quick, another action.
Decent assist onto Niski. There's the Pop Blossom out from him. Nako's here as well. Vladi now diving in. Targamas trying to get across the wall, but can't get close enough to jump onto Niski. Nako looking for the needlework. Will just chip away at the Vladi as he walks back to the wave.
Yeah, and I mean, Vladi and Yike working together flawlessly this game. Ooh, Niski very close. I think Vladi didn't have any vision there. Was able to keep Niski alive. Is he just gonna die?
He's just dead! Canna knocked against the wall, but he manages to flash out. Targamas looking for the flank, the Solar Flame into the equalizer. Good double keeper's verdict from Lyncas will keep himself alive for the moment, but he has to walk back over the fire to escape. Yike gets the kill, Vitality lose 2. And yeah, it wasn't the best sequence for Vitality.
Punishment after punishment as Vitality overstepped their boundaries, and Niski with a massive misplay. Canna, with one of the easiest kills of his life, finds a pick onto Niski, and that just gives them the window to engage. Lyncas did what he could. He used his ultimate to try and create some space for Laz's team to disengage, but it just was not enough. And Caliste, adding insult to injury, going to wait for the cannon minion to fall, deny that tiny bit of extra gold towards Nako, and he's going to secure the tower for KC.
Yeah, now a 3.5k lead for Karmine Corp. We'll have another look at this. Like, Niski is already quite low, and then he just walks towards Canna, gets hit with 2 harpoons.
I mean, not much needed to break down there, really.
He got the root, though.
Back to life.
He got the root onto Canna, cease and desist onto Lyncas. He's dead now, you have to feel. As Yike will claim his 4th of the game. Czajek unbinds his soul and sees that his blue buff has been removed from the rift. Niski walking in with the clone. The shape splitter will only spot out Karmine Corp stealing away more of the jungle.
I mean, Vladi and Yike, they're just padding out the stats now, roaming around as a dynamic duo, constantly finding pick after pick. The gold gap continues to grow as Nako trying to get something back on the side lane. But KC, they came to play in their home crowd. We've been hearing a lot from them that I remember Caliste saying about halfway through the split that they're only playing at even about 40%. There's so much more for them to show, and this is the type of performance that we're expecting from a top team in the LEC. And Broken Blade, even on the analyst desk, was saying that he confidently believes that KC is the best right now. Of course, he wants to prove them wrong as they play up against each other tomorrow. But KC with a fantastic game 1, being led by Yike and Vladi in this mid-jungle combo.
Yeah, and for Vitality, you're sitting at 3 and 4. You have another game tomorrow, obviously. That will round out your 9 series for the split. You do really want to pick up one more win if you can to almost guarantee that playoff spot. If they win here, they would get at least a tiebreaker if they win in the series, but right now that is looking like a very dim possibility for the Wasps. Niski stepping forward, his vision is clear. That was a useless control ward, Betty, by the way.
Thank you.
So just in case you were still trying to identify them. Targamas coming across, Canna a little bit pushed forward as Vitality have cut off the rest of his team. Nako goes in, first needlework doesn't connect, but the second should. There's the equalizer. Canna, though, has a stopwatch, and Targamas jumps with Carzzy. Cleanse away from Carzzy. Canna down first. Targamas looking for the solar flame, but Carzzy has the fancy feed on Yike caught with a bait. Steel pop blossom coming out as well. And Targamas goes down. Vitality are going to get 3 out of this, and they don't lose a man. Caliste and Vladi unable to respond in time.
KC, by reacting to keep their top laner alive, end up handing over 3 kills to Vitality and an exposed dragon. No jungler alive, but Vladi, he's feeling himself.
He's got the killer instinct. Pop Blossom, in fact, was the one he stole away. He gets in, Niski's down, the Drake's still there as well. Oh, they've just done it! They've deleted them in front of their home crowd. 4-0 from Vladi and Caliste.
In the 2 versus 4, Vladi and Caliste make magic happen. I mean, really, Caliste, he was just the backup to Vladi in that play. And we'll get to that in a second, but let's remind ourselves how this started off. It's Canna getting caught in a side lane. KC come to his rescue, trying to help, but Vladi gets knocked away. They realize quite quickly that they're at a massive numbers disadvantage, and there's little they can do. Caliste and Vladi have to watch as their team fall, and Vitality begin to regain some confidence. But Vladi says, no, I'm not letting you get away with this. He steals away Niski's ultimate. He forces the flash out from Carzzy. He's expecting it because he doesn't even flash after him. He flashes up into the river to set up for Caliste to land the arrow. And then he turns his attention to the remaining 2 players in the pit. Beautiful play by Vladi.
Equalizer down onto Niski. There's the solar flare follow-up as Lyncas has to flash away. Chain of Corruption doesn't quite land from Karmine Corp, but they do force Niski out. They force his flash as well. Baron a possibility for them. Still only a 4,000 gold lead. Hasn't extended by too much, but they are still getting those petals. 33 for them right now. Baron has been begun. Vitality looking to challenge. Niski has no flash to get in here with the Pop Blossom, and they turn on him immediately. He will use his ultimate, but to no avail. The dive onto Czajek. He face seals out, and Vladi follows him! Man, this guy is on absolute fire right now. He even tried to abscond up, dug back onto Czajek as he bound his soul back into his body. No TP for Vladi, though. He's going to push out this top wave. It feels like the Baron has to be stopped for now, at least, by Karmine Corp.
Oh yeah, I think that doing that objective would be far too greedy. Another pick on Niski. Finds himself at 7 deaths. He really has been the target this game, but he's just so squishy on the Neeko. Casey, that dive combo of Vladi and Yike have not hesitated to turn that into a kill. Vladi is level 17 to the 14 of Czajek. Of course, he is close to ticking over, but what a monster performance from that man in the mid lane. Casey on track to securing game 1 of this series. Of course, they still need to break into the base, but in a position like this, it feels so difficult for Vitality to really win out on fights unless they can find themselves another pick.
Czajek's looking for Targamas here. We'll jump back. Not really much vision for Vitality. At least not much past that sort of river line. They have the Scuttle Crab, giving them a little bit of vision. 2.5 minutes on the next Drake would be sold for Karmine Corp, but Cloud Soul as well with how Vladi's playing. Sure, I'd want to have to deal with him diving onto the back line. Now has that Zhonya's. Still has 10 stacks on his Dark Seal. Blue on the menu as he jumps onto Niski. Steadfast Presence coming out. The Pop Blossom used purely to disengage, and the re-engage comes out. Let's put the Neeko on the bench, eh? Let's put her on the bench, Niski. Hasn't worked out for you too well this game, as Vladi's Pop Blossoms have been doing much more work.
I mean, I do think that Niski's had some pretty good plays.
Oh,
this
there have been some good moments.
KC they have been merciless with their aggression. Vladi on the flank has the Neeko ult himself.
He's in prime position to jump in.
He's waiting for the Lyncas W to be used.
Pop Blossom, abscond abduct onto Carzzy, and even though he's knocked away, Carzzy is sent packing. Czajek trying to get in, Vladi just catching the wave. He knows that the only keepers of justice here are Karmine Corp. 22-7 now at the 29-minute mark.
It's another slaughter with another great engage.
Nako, no.
He's trying to get something, but
What's he trying to get? Maybe trying to get Caliste, can't quite do it. Caliste survives.
He was down close.
He was close. He was close.
Caliste gonna have to go back to base with that one. Vitality do not have the numbers to contest.
So Mortal Kombat.
There's no...
Can you remember the Mortal Kombat theme song? I can't remember it at all.
Actually, it is in my head. That is not it.
I know.
That's the Pink
I told you
Panther
I couldn't. No. Pink Panther is... Canna's here to break up Mortal Kombat.
Oh my goodness.
As you can tell, Karmine Corp should win this game.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for them. 30 seconds until Dragon. Baron secured means the resets are going to come through. We look at the engage. Targamas doesn't quite connect with the Zenith Blades. The ultimate from Canna as well. In just the right position. Nako realizes there's nothing else he can do. He goes to back away. And even though he gets close to finding a trade back kill at the very least, yeah, I guess at this point he realized, well, my back has been interrupted. I may as well try for something. The overheat comes through, but the flash stun from Targamas, maybe a little unnecessary, but maybe it was, considering how close Caliste was to losing his life.
Also, it just feels really good as the support to be like, I was hiding in the bush all along. Here I am. Drake has been started. Ooh, dodge there from the Void Seeker, but Caliste, he gets it! He kills off Nako. Almost dead himself, but he survives. Carzzy, Vladi, he was invisible, Vladi! You gotta stop doing this, Vladi! It's incroyable from Vladi! He's built a wall and he's making Vitality pay for it. That wall is damn blue today for Karmine Corp.
Kill after kill. The flash in from Yike
just keeps going. The equalizer as well on Lyncas. He can flash away, but I don't think even the safety of his base remains to him anymore. Karmine Corp gets soul, they win the kill, they get an ace, they win the fight, and they should take the base of Vitality.
Nothing but a slaughter from KC. There was one good fight from Vitality, but it was not enough.
I mean, that's a demolition. The explosiveness of Karmine Corp over the last 3 minutes or so was a delight to behold. And in front of their home crowd as well, Vedi, you can hear the cheers for them.
10-0-10 for Vladi. Just a monster performance. He got a Medjai's at the end. 24 stacks is how he finished it.
What better way to go to a short break, Vedi? We'll be right back after this. Don't you go anywhere.